Harlem has been recognized worldwide as the Black Mecca. And so to be like in the midst of it all, it's really incredible. So we feel a very strong sense of responsibility on our shoulders to like represent the culture right and to usher in a new wave of artists and expression.
That was Nicky Sunshine, co-founder of Comedy in Harlem. And this is Epicenter NYC. We connect our communities to news, information, and each other. I'm your host, Amber Castillo. In the heart of Sugar Hill, Manhattan's only Black-owned comedy club, Comedy in Harlem, is entertaining and empowering the community. Founded by comedians Nicky Sunshine and Jamie Roberts, Comedy in Harlem isn't only about the punchlines. It's about creating a space for free expression and community connection, especially in turbulent times. The club is also a tribute to Harlem's cultural legacy and a platform for diverse voices to speak their truths. The club brings together locals and visitors alike, from young artists testing their skills at open mics to audience members looking for an escape through humor. Today, we're talking with Nicky about how Comedy in Harlem came to be, the challenges of running a small business in New York, and the deep responsibility she feels in amplifying marginalized voices. Before we jump in, a quick message from our team.
Hi, I'm Mariana from the Epicenter NYC team. Did you know that anxiety, sleep problems, and muscle pain could be symptoms of long COVID? Take the steps needed to protect yourself, your family, and your plans. Get vaccinated against COVID-19. We can help you schedule your appointment and even arrange you right there. Email us at hello@epicenter-nyc.com or call or text us at 917-818-2690.
Now back to the show. Here's my conversation with Nicky.
My name is Nicky Sunshine. I'm one of the co-owners of Comedy in Harlem, one of the only Black-owned comedy clubs in the country.
Yeah, if you could take us from the beginning. How did Comedy in Harlem start? What inspired you and I believe your partner also to create this space?
Well, my partner and I are both stand-up comedians. We've been stand-up comedians for over 15 years and also producers. So he produced a lot of shows downtown. I produce shows as well. And we were just noticing that some of these venues weren't really as receptive to Black and Brown performers. And in stand-up comedy, it's really important to get stage time. Stage time is like, a gym for a comedian. You have to work out those jokes. You have to see what works in order to get bigger opportunities. You don't just get a spot on the Tonight Show from not being on stage and really honing your act. And so we noticed some disparities with that. So we decided, and it was almost kind of organically because my partner, Jamie Roberts, he used to produce shows frequently at the National Black Theater. He gathered a following from those theater shows. And then there was an opportunity to do shows in East Harlem. And so we said, okay, well, let's try here. And we started doing shows on the East Side. And I mean, the rest is really history. So we garnered attention in East Harlem. We won an award, a community engagement award from Union Settlement. And they did a big video for us. And it was a big gala downtown. And then this is the part in the movie where it's like, uh-oh, shit getting shut down. What happened was the Department of Buildings issued us a certificate of occupancy because that's what you need to operate a business. So they gave us a certificate of occupancy, and then inspectors were coming around because there was a complaint. I don't know if it was a Karen in the neighborhood or who it was, but it was somebody that was an architect. And they were like, something's not right with this picture. I don't think they're supposed to be doing what they're doing. So inspectors came and they were like, let me see your certificate. They saw it and they were like, oh, somebody made a mistake. So we were like, ooh, okay. But we kind of knew some things were kind of percolating. So we had already signed the paperwork on a new space. We were just waiting to go in. We did a GoFundMe, and then at the end of May, we moved into our new space, which is in Sugar Hill, Harlem, on 147th and St. Nicholas Avenue. Praise the Lord. No alley rats. Praise the Lord. ADA accessible. You can roll up there in your wheelchair. You don't have to climb up no stairs, baby. You just sail on in. We got a patio. It really was an upgrade. So God is in charge, and he saw that we needed to move out of there. And since we moved, it's just been so much better all around.
And what does it mean to you to reopen this business in part of the historic Sugar Hill neighborhood?
I'm really pinching myself. Sugar Hill, and particularly where we're situated, it used to be a corridor for jazz. So, there I went into a business. There's like a vegan Ethiopian business. It's called Zion Cafe. And when I went in there, I spoke with the owner, and she was like, yeah, this venue was in Malcolm X, the autobiography of Malcolm X. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, it was like Jimmy's Chicken Coop, and Malcolm X and Red Fox used to work here as waiters. And I was like, what? But where we are is a really historic corridor of the art scene in Harlem. And just to be in Harlem anyway, with the connection to the culture, as like Harlem has been recognized worldwide as the Black Mecca. And so to be like in the midst of it all and to walk the same steps and to just take it all in, it's really incredible. So we feel a very strong sense of responsibility on our shoulders to like represent the culture right and to usher in a new wave of artists and expression. Right now, freedom of speech, freedom of expression is under attack. I never thought in my lifetime I would see something like this. And so we say we're here to amplify voices. And yeah, so we just have a really good time, and we do more than comedy. We started karaoke on Wednesday. So with the karaoke, it's definitely an opportunity for just folks to get on stage and kind of just feel supported and have fun. But we also feature independent artists and do live shows with artists that are up and coming in the like underground scene, music scene in New York. So we have people sing their original music, and it's a platform for them and a chance for them to perform in front of an audience. So
Since they're in the underground scene, how do you find them or how do they find you?
well, I met a guy, he calls himself A1. He's Dominican. He's a beautiful person, but he's connected with all these people. He has a brand called Harlem Renaissance, and they do events all over the city. And he knows so many artists and like promotes so many different artists. So he knows a lot of people. We do karaoke, and then all these people just come. I mean, phenomenal singers, women, men. It doesn't like really different sound, but really a talented crop of the best of New York has to offer with like young artists.
What has been the biggest challenge for you guys just in running the business?
I would say the biggest challenge is really having the money to implement everything that we have like on our vision board. It costs so much money in New York City to like operate a business, like everything from the lease. And then you have to, there's so much you have to do. Like you got to have the right equipment. And then like we have a patio and outdoor space. And it's like, oh, what if we could like build like an enclosure? Then maybe we could make it like a cafe space, or it could be an additional space. And it's really the funding. It's really the money that's been the biggest challenge. I mean, the audience, we have to grow our audience as well. And like, it's not easy to sell tickets to 6 shows a week, and keep connecting with like new customers and stuff like that. But the crux of it is really capital and access to capital and, funding and things like that. That's what businesses and organizations really need to thrive. And some folks have an easier time than others, but that's really at this point been the challenge because there's so much more that we can do. It's just we have to pace ourselves because, money's just not falling out of the sky. So
Yeah. Do folks who know you guys from what you had going on before the space and also your first space for comedy in Harlem, have some of those folks still followed you guys to this space?
oh yeah, definitely. And the neighborhood was surprised. We had a show and I remember it. A guy from the neighborhood came with like four people and the show was sold out. And he was like, what do you mean? I mean, it was clear in his mind he was going to have a seat at this show because he had his three people that were there and they were supporting somebody that was in the show. And I was like, sir, I'm so sorry. The show is sold out. You can come to a later show. And he's like, what do you mean it's sold out? You guys just got here. And I was like, okay, that's one of the things that I was trying to tell some of the folks that have business in the neighborhood. We just got to our space, but we've been doing this. We not new to this. We true to this. Our people followed us, B. Like what you thought we was going to come here and not do shit in the space? The rent is too expensive. People know us. People like we're low key celebrities in our minds, but our followers have followed us and we have a robust network. More and more people come and know what we're doing. They bring more people. So the word is spreading because what we're doing is really special. You don't have venues like this in other parts of the country.
And when you say like this, what do you mean?
There are not that many minority owned comedy clubs in the United States. You would think, well, why not? It's just not. Because when you think about it, if you're going to have an entertainment venue or performance venue, what keeps the venue alive is people. Here in New York City, we have a constant stream of tourists, but we also have the numbers. We have the population, 8 million people in the metropolitan area that can support artists. You can't do a venue like this in Chattanooga, Tennessee, because it's not enough people to sustain the vision. And it's about diversity as well. We try to be very mindful and diverse. We have an event coming up with Senegalese performers. New York City is an incubator. New York City is still on the cutting edge of entertainment, of media. There's a reason why I wanted to come here since I was 16. It was just in me that I had to be here in I always wanted to live in a Latin speaking country. I always wanted that. And I'm uptown, baby. I am uptown. Okay? Huepa. Yo vivo en una comunidad con mi gente. So it's the diversity, the possibility is amazing. And the Apollo, just steps from the Apollo, performers come from around the world to Harlem to express themselves. So we're in good company with artistic expression. And that's pretty amazing to me.
What's your future vision for comedy in Harlem? What would you want to do more of or less of?
I think what we definitely want to do more of is we want to amplify younger comedians. Because like it's hard to get good at comedy. People for 20 years are working on certain jokes, but you can't just keep putting the same people on stage. You need to give newer comics and a newer generation a chance. And so we want to definitely nurture that talent, but we also want to connect with more young people, like going into the schools, giving them options. Everybody doesn't want to do stand-up comedy, but guess what? Public speaking, that's a life skill. That's a work skill. When you go into interview, you have to know how to stand in front of somebody, look them in the eye, and express yourself and tell them who you are and what your interests are. So maybe you need to practice that.
One last question, and I think you alluded to it in all these other ways that you talk about community, but we always ask, what does it mean for you to be a small business owner? What does it mean for your community? What does it mean for you?
What it means to be a small business owner, it's almost kind of like I finally found it. I finally found it because for so many years I struggled with like, I like this, I like that, but what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I don't know. Why they know what they're doing? Why don't I know what I'm doing? And so I think I've always kind of been most fulfilled when I'm creating and kind of using my mind and respecting my idea to create something out of nothing. It makes me purposeful. And I feel like I have a deeper connection with my neighbors because I have a business that has something to offer. It's so enriching to me to be a small business owner because for me, life is more about experiences than money for me. And I feel like connected to so many organizations and people. And that's really what it comes back to since when I was young. Like, people give me energy, give me life. It's like, yes, I want to be around the people. Power to the people. So that's what I really like about being a small business owner is providing a service that people really love and people really respect and think that it's important and it adds something to their lives.
If you want to learn more about Comedy in Harlem, follow them on Instagram at Comedy in Harlem or send them an email at info@comedyinharlem.com. You can find these links and more in our show notes. And if you know of a local business that you think Epicenter should feature, let us know. Drop us a note at hello@epicenter-nyc.com. That's all for today. Thanks for listening and thanks for supporting us as we do our best to support our community. We couldn't do it without you. For more stories like this, make sure to subscribe to our newsletter at epicenter-nyc.com. Our intro music is All the Pretty Horses by Cara Vika. You can find more of their music on their website, linked to in our podcast description.